on Australia's Business Channel. Welcome to In Business.
Hello, I'm Bridie Barry. Thanks for joining us on In Business. Well, for many people, information technology can be a great source of income and the base of any successful business. But for many of us, it can go over our heads. But one man, Peter Mavridis, has carved a niche out of IT solutions, growing his business Essential from startup in 1999 to a successful business which expects to hit $100 million next financial year. And he's also a member of the BRW Australia's Young Rich list, coming in at number 21 last year. And he joins us now in the studio to tell us all about Essential. Peter, thank you so much for your time. Just give us an indication of what Essential actually does.
Yes, well, Essential is an IT services business, and what we do is we provide the best technology to corporates and governments around Australia. These days, and I suppose in all business, IT has become an essential service in these businesses. So what we do is we gather the best IT technology from around the world, and we provide it into these organisations, and we allow them to become the most competitive that they can in their own business and to gain that competitive advantage.
Where did the idea come from? I mean, were you always interested in IT?
Look, we saw a gap in the market. I was working in the United States for a few years back in 97 and 98, and my business partner Natalie was there as well. And we saw the way IT services firms were working in the United States market. And the Australian market was very different. It's a very fragmented industry with a lot of state-based organisations, and no one really able to deliver on a national scale, with the exception of the big multinationals. So when I moved back to Australia in 1999, that gap was still there, and that's what we decided to fill. So we're able to deliver a full solution right across the country, and do it on our own, so that organisations and corporations don't have to go and engage 5 or 6 different firms like they did. They can just use Essential, and obviously it's been a successful model.
So how did you fund it and start it, actually get it going?
Well, initially it was self-funded, so Natalie and I really utilised all the resources that we had and everyone else that we knew. And we built the business. After a couple of years, we did get some investors involved early to help with some of the expansion of the business. But since then, it's really been self-funded through profits and growth. And we've grown it from there.
Yeah, to the point now where you're on the acquisition path as well recently. Yeah. We will touch on that in a moment. Firstly, though, it's quite interesting because you obviously work with your partner. So, I mean, how does that work?
I don't work with her anymore, but when we first started the business, it's very difficult. It's you're spending a lot of time. Together just throughout the day and then in the evenings, and I think you learn how to deal with it, and if you've got the same goals and the same vision, it works, and you've just got to have an open communication strategy. The reason I say we don't work together anymore is we got married and had a couple of kids, so Natalie's got the more important job of looking after them now. So
that is a full-time job, isn't it?
It sure is.
So I guess your tips to making a partnership successful then would be communication is key.
Yeah, and it's like all partnerships. Our business is based on partnerships with our technology suppliers from around the world. Our clients are our partners, our staff. But I believe if you're open and honest with everybody, then that's important, and communication as well. But partnerships are important throughout any business.
Just look at one of the big projects for Essential, and controversial at the time, the winding down of that Colesmeyer shareholder card. So how were you involved in that?
Yeah, look, that was an interesting project. It was a few years ago now, but why it was interesting was the market sensitivity of that project. Because of that, we had a very short period of time to do what we needed to do. We had less than a week to mobilise a team of 200 staff and build a whole new IT system to manage that entire response handling. But we did it. We did a successful job, and we got through it.
What would you say have been the biggest challenges in your business particularly?
Look, I think the early days of growing a business is certainly a challenge. You know, it was two individuals, Natalie and I, knocking on doors of large corporations and you know, asking them to trust us with one of their main assets, which is their IT systems. So it was always difficult to gain that credibility to get into those large organisations. But as we have done, you deliver a few successful jobs, and you find that that's become easier and easier. I mean, and now, you know, we have a couple hundred staff around the country, so the credibility is there.
Yeah. With the challenges as well, I guess too, you've managed to gain the support of a major investor now, Polly Mavridis. What will her role be?
Look, well, Polly's had some terrific experience, and she's been a very successful businesswoman, having founded a waste management business called Baxter Group, listing that business and then selling that business. So Polly brings a lot to us, not only in the form of the investment, but her knowledge, her experience in business is something that we need. And so she's going to focus a lot on the growth, some of the integration work that's going on in our business. And Polly's also working very closely with some of our staff and introducing some new schemes, for example, an employee share program that we're rolling out to all of our team.
Wow.
So the experience in having run larger organisations and growth is quite valuable to us Central.
Just tell us a bit about that scheme. Is it still sort of being worked on at the moment?
It is still being worked on, but I feel that all employees of the organisations should participate in the success of the business, and because they are one of the key stakeholders. So I'd like to see, as Central grows, that everybody that's been involved from early on and that comes on board now have the opportunity to participate in the growth of that business.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Just to Polly Mavridis. Yes. And her role, what will that injection of cash be used for? Why did you need that?
Look, we have quite a strong growth strategy. I mean, we are one of the fastest growing IT companies in the country, but as that size has increased now, to maintain those level of growth rates, our strategic plan required us to you have to put some equity into the business. We didn't want to slow down the growth of the business. So pretty much the funds that Polly's putting into the business and backing the business with will go towards growth. And we intend to continue to grow organically. I mean, the business is growing at about 50% a year organically. And we also intend to get into some other geographical markets.
Anyone's in particular that you want to talk about just yet, or is that secret?
We are in Brisbane, Sydney, Newcastle and Melbourne and Adelaide. And as of Monday, we're moving into the Canberra market. So we're starting very much a government-based business over there. And so if you look at the footprint in Australia, we need to get into WA, and that's our plan. And we're also looking at New Zealand.
Fantastic. Congratulations. I guess why not go to the share market though to help with the growth?
Look, it's certainly something we considered and had looked at, but we weren't simply looking for money, and we needed a partner. And in Polly we've got both. We've got someone who knows business and can assist in areas in integrating and growing the business. So when we looked at the share market, we said we'll do that if we're ready. There's no plans to do that right now. We don't need to do that. But we're happy being private at the moment.
You've been talking about being on the acquisition path as well. So certainly the past year has been very busy, 2007 for you. So just run us through some of those buys and I guess how you've managed to successfully integrate those companies into the company.
Yeah, look, we've focused our acquisition strategy in two areas. One is to really broaden the skill set that we got in our IT, in our people, and secondly to get into some geographical markets. So